Hey guys, I'm Marcus Trusty with Core. This is a short video on how to organize comments for land management projects. We've asked a lot of times in the past for you guys to comment on specific things, travel management and others. And it's really important to understand that commenting on projects is very much the same. There's a consistent manner in which you need to do so. A land management project could be a forest plan update. It could be travel management. It could be a project to analyze camping. It could be for a new trail. It could be for a trail reroute. And largely the BLM and the Forest Service utilize very similar outlines for conducting their projects. So in many cases, they'll go through scoping, which is the very initial phase of gathering public input, where you can submit comments. From the scoping information, they usually create alternatives for which they're going to weigh during the project. And you can also submit comments when they request them on, their draft alternatives. Alternatives just mean there's several different selections of management prescriptions that they could then choose through this process. And so they're weighing all of these and looking at the positives and negatives and the long-term outcomes. And you get a comment on those. And then after that, they'll go through a draft decision. And if you've commented during the process, during the draft decision period, you can submit an objection if you don't like the decision or you feel that they missed something. So it's really important to know, how to comment and why you're commenting so that they can value your feedback during these projects. Now, comments, when you submit them, are classified in one of three areas by the agencies. The first one would be a form letter. That's if I gave you, copy out there to just copy and paste in an email browser and send in. If they get a number of comments that all say the exact same thing, those are classified as a form letter, because it's a formal communication that people just copy and pasted in and sent back to the agency. Those are not weighed very, very highly in terms of consideration during projects, because the user didn't really put forth, valuable, unique information. They just copy and pasted something. And so largely those are classified as a single comment. Even if they get 100 letters saying the same thing, they basically classify it as a form letter, which is a single comment. Okay, that's why we don't ask you to copy and paste stuff, and we will never ask you to copy and paste stuff, because it devalues our information and devalues everything that people copy and paste in. The second one that they would classify as a substantial comment. They read your comment. It contains valuable substance for which they need to consider when making a decision. That's what we want, substantial comments. The third one then would be an unsubstantial comment. That's when people just emotionally say things like, quit closing all the trails. There's not a lot of substance there. And to be frank, though, it may be true. We don't want them to continue closing trails. But it doesn't offer any substance to the project for them to consider when they make a decision. So really what we want to get to is submitting substantial comments to a project for consideration to help sway the decision to be pro-motorizer, to keep trails open, to keep roads open, to keep access to areas open. That's the overall goal. We need to submit substantial comments to make that happen. So look at this outline right here. This is a generic one. Again, this is a general video on commenting. So if you look at this outline, you can see several important aspects of how you need to structure a comment in blue. So you can see here several important aspects of putting together a substantial, unique comment to submit to a project. Give them a greeting. Just, whichever land management organization is doing this project, you're going to say, if it's Pike and San Isabel, hello, PSI travel management team, or GMUG forest plan update. Hello, GMUG forest plan team. Just address it to the group that is doing the project. And then second, you need to tell them about yourself. Importantly, tell them who you are and if you have an affiliation. Okay, maybe you're a core member. Maybe you're a member of the TPA or CoveCo, Blue Ribbon Coalition. Maybe you're a supporter of those groups. Tell them what your affiliations are, and if you're a member of a club or group, that's very helpful to the club or group that you're a member of, and gives you some more credibility when you're submitting comments, to one of these projects. So who you are, what your affiliations are. And then when you're commenting on a specific thing, tell them, how you use the area, and the trails, what type of multi-use activities you would engage in based on the access afforded to you in that area. That's very important. We need to tie this back to the multi-use aspect, and that it's not just a road that goes to nowhere or a trail that nobody cares about. We need to thoroughly paint them a very clear picture as to why you enjoy this area, okay? Then we also need to point out any errors that you may have found. We found tons of mapping errors in past travel management projects, and they need to be aware of that. They need to correct those errors. If they're not corrected, in most cases, we lose when there's errors that are still left to be decided on in projects, okay? So notate any errors that you find, and then give them your recommendation. Okay, this is like summing everything up. You told them who you were, what your affiliation was, why you like the area, if you found anything that was inaccurate, and then based on that information, you're giving them a recommendation. So I recommend alternative C to be accepted based on this information. Okay, that's just an example, but you need to give them a recommendation. And again, this is general, so in most cases, CORE or other motorized advocacy groups will inform you which alternative is the preferred one by us and which one we would hope that they would accept. So make your recommendation, and then just really quick, thank them for their consideration of your comment. So there you have it. It can be pretty easy, and we can be very effective at generating and submitting comments, substantial comments to land management projects. Again, this is a generic outline, so this video may accompany, more specifics for any given project now or in the future. So this gives you just some guidelines to follow, some general information. If you're commenting on a project, go ahead and put all the specifics in for that project and direct your comments appropriately. If we all comment on land management projects effectively and in mass, then that's a huge step in moving forward to keep trails open, keep our access open to the areas that we all enjoy.